boys and girls, students of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes, parents and grandparents, Buddhist youth members, and teachers of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. We're going to have another story with a moral title, Crows and Owls. This is an animal story with a good moral. Probably you have not heard this before, so we are going to have this story. As usual, we will have the PowerPoint presentation. And this presentation is in the form of a comics. And comics are actually quite interesting reading materials. Remember when we were young, we used to read a lot of comics, and you can actually improve your English by reading good comics. So this presentation is using comics. And as usual, we will launch the PowerPoint and I will read or narrate the story with some explanation and comments. And at the end, as usual, the most important thing is regard to the Dhamma lessons we can learn. Now, before we launch the PowerPoint, let me check the setup to ensure that it is okay. All right. And now let us launch the PowerPoint. Now you see the cover slide. Now, before that, let me take off my picture. As I said just now, the title of this story is Crows and Owls. I think you know these are two types of birds. And of course, being an animal story, here you can see that birds can talk. So the important thing is the moral lessons we can learn. Now, you know, crows usually are black in color, and the picture here, animated images show very clearly what crows look like here also. And then owls, I think you are quite familiar. This is just the cartoon image. And you have, this is a, colorful one. So owls are normally not that colorful. Will be probably brownish, blackish, brownish. But anyway, you have heard the saying, as wise as an owl, but this story you find that things are quite different. So let us now move on to the story. Crows and Owls. A colony of crows dwelt in a great banyan tree in a forest. The name of their king was Cloudy. So there was this group of crows staying in a great, big tree, a banyan tree. You can see this with buttress roots. And they, as most groups of birds have a king, a leader. And the name of this leader was Cloudy. The crows were constantly harassed by their powerful enemies, the owls. Their king, Foe Crusher, would attack any crow he came across. Now you are introduced to the owls. Now, so the crows were very often disturbed, annoyed by their powerful enemies, the owls. And the owls also had their king and the name Foe Crusher, to crush the enemies. And they would attack any crow he came across, as you can see the picture here. So then one day, Cloudy, the king of the crows, right? You can see the picture here, called a meeting of his 5 counselors. Now you can consider counselors as advisors. Now the more difficult words I explain on the right hand side, vocabulary to help you improve in your English. So what did the king say? The owls are becoming a menace. A menace means danger, a threat, to us. They are arrogant, proud, and powerful. And they attack us at night when we cannot see. We cannot counterattack during the day because we don't know where they dwell. That was what the king of the crows said. He said, these owls are very proud, but they are very powerful. And they attack us at night. Owls can see very clearly at night, right? They come out at night. And we cannot see them. They are not, like the owls. The crows fly during the daytime, more active, you see. And then during the daytime, we cannot also counter-attack if they were to come also, because we cannot go to their place because we don't know where they live. So then the king asked the counselors, what should we do? So let us now go on to the 3rd slide. Then one of the counselors said, let us sue for peace. It is always advisable to make peace with powerful foes. Now, what these counselors said was this: let us request, right? Ask for peace. It is good because they are powerful enemies. So let us make peace with them. And another counselor, another of the birds, the crow, I don't agree. And what did he say? One should never make peace with wicked creatures. Let us declare war on the rascals. So he got a different view. He said, no, we will not make peace with these bad owls, wicked. And he says, let us announce a war, or let us make known our war on the rascals, or let us go to war with these rascals, the scoundrels, the bad ones, right? The wicked ones, the rascals. And then what did he say? Then another one said, I think, right? The enemy is vicious and powerful. A wise neither peace nor war, but the change of residence. Let us go away from here. Probably another counselor said this. He said, these owls are very cruel. And they are powerful, vicious, cruel. So, this is my advice. Neither peace nor war. But we move away, change our place of stay, change our home. In other words, we go far away. And then another one say, go away where? Then one says, a crocodile, if he stays at home, can defeat an elephant. All different advisors have different views. You say, if you stay at home, you can defeat the enemy, just like crocodile, if he stays put at his home, like in the muddy river, right? So he can defeat even big animals like elephant. The elephant will come, the crocodile can attack, bite the elephant, and then go and hide beneath the river. But if he leaves his swamp, even a dog can make him run. In other words, if the crocodile were to leave his home, goes onto the land or something like that, a dog also can bite him and make him run. So I say, let us stay here and fortify our positions. Fortify means to make strong, to strengthen the home. This is the advice. So, he said, in my humble opinion, we should form alliances with other friendly birds. Probably another one also expressed the opinion. He said, my view is this, my opinion. We should join up, form alliances. We should form unions with other types of birds who are friendly to us. So you see, the different advisors gave different views. So the king would have the final say. What would the king decide? Now let us go on to the next slide. Then Cloudy turned to a very old crow named Livestrong. Or could be Livestrong. I think Live, no, it should be Livestrong. Livestrong, L-I-V-E, Livestrong, that was the name of this old advisor. And what do you advise, revered sir? The king asked. And what did Livestrong say? I advise duplicity, my lord. Now, duplicity means to deceive, right? To cheat them, to think of a way to trick them, to trick this. So then he told the king, you attack me at once with a great show of anger. Then the king was surprised. Attack you, my wisest minister? Yes, we must put up this show for the benefit of our friend over there. Actually, he knew there was a crow nearby, watching and listening like a spy. He said, we must put on this show, right? I have a plan. So he told the king, we must put on this show and bluff the plala. Then the king only realized, oh, there's an owl nearby. Let him think we have fallen out. Throw me out of the tree. Then with all your subjects, fly to Antelope Mountain. Then the king whispered, all they spoke all very softly so that the owl could not hear a little bit. But the parts they don't want, they will whisper. They don't want the owl to hear one. And what will you do? So this particular wise minister named Livestrong advised to trick the owls. He said, let him think that we have disagreed. That you all have disagreed with me. There is trouble, or no? Then after that, he's told about the plan. I will be friend. I will make friends with the owls and win their trust. And then I'll find a way to bring about their doom, their destruction. Right? So this was my plan. So probably the king agreed. So let us see what is next now. Now do as I say, you coward. Do as I say. So the other birds were surprised. How dare he speak like that to our king? But actually, he was putting up a show and was tricking the owl. I'll wring his neck for him. So you have turned traitor. We don't want any traitors here. So the king probably also accepted right, his idea. So he said something as if he disagreed and then was not happy with the crow. So then this owl heard some of the things that they purposely speak loudly, the king and the wise old owl. So he was thinking, they are fighting amongst themselves. So then the king followed what the wise owl said, hit the flag, right? And then push the flag, assaulted the flag like that. Get out and stay out, like that. So he fell, and then maybe some feathers fell out and some bruises or things like that. But that was a plan, To wring means to twist the neck, to wring the neck. Coward means lacking courage. Traitor is one who is not loyal, betrays the group of people. So let us see what is to happen. Let us now go on to the next one. The owl lost no time in reporting what he had heard and seen to his master. And the master's name? Foe crusher, the king. Master is the king, foe crusher. Foe crusher, foe is enemy. Crusher means to crush, to crush or wipe out that enemy. Right. So, Your Majesty, the crows are fighting amongst themselves. They have thrown out one of their ministers. The owl acted as the spy told the king. Then the king of the owl said, then this is a good time to attack them. This organized enemy is easily defeated. This organized will confused already. They don't agree and trouble among them are disorganized. Then the king of the owls, foe crusher, said, follow me, my friends. So the foe crusher, the king, and all his owls attacked on the banyan tree with blood-curdling war cries. Blood-curdling means causing horror or terror. So they flew to the banyan tree with the intention of attacking the crows because they thought that the crows now disagreed among themselves, very disorganized. So let us see what is to happen next now. So, but when they reached the tree, they soon realized there was not a single crow in the tree. The cowards have fled. Cowards means people who are not brave. So they have fled. I mean, they have run away. They have escaped already. So the king actually had followed the advice of this old wise, the wise old owl. So he had led his people, not people, his subjects, the crows under him, and flew to another place. So they were safe, they were not attacked by the owls. So the old Livestrong, who had been watching the proceedings from the ground, was pleased with the way things were going. The first part of my plan has succeeded, he thought. So he did not go away. No, he was still at that place because he got a plan. You will see what the plan is. So the owls were there and he watched the whole thing and heard what was said by the king. What was happening, everything he knew. So next comes the most dangerous part. But there's no turning back now. You got a plan, so now it will be the next part of the plan. That's what he thought. He says, well, here goes. So then he showed himself up as the owls were about to fly away. He said, come and make sound. And then they saw him. Hey, look, a crow. Look, a crow. So would they kill this crow or not? Dangerous, isn't it? Now let us see. I'm no ordinary crow. I am Cloudy's minister. Be good enough to inform your master of my presence. So probably the king had flown away first. So he told the other owls, tell your master of my presence here, that I'm a special crow, Cloudy's minister. I have much to discuss with him. Then the crows said, okay, I'll fetch him. I'll fetch him. So he fetched the king of the crows. And the owl, the king of the owls. So the owl soon returned with 4 crusher, right? Or probably the king did not leave first. It was the other in command. Like this one looks like different. So he went to ask to talk the king. So the ones that went to attack first did not include the king of the owls. So they were very astonished. The king was very astonished, very surprised to see the battered means beaten up already. Some feathers dropped out and then some bruises already. The better condition of the old crow. How have you come to such a sorry state, my dear sir? So the king asked the crow, this is the way I have been rewarded for giving good advice, your majesty. So this crow said this to the king. Actually, he was carrying out the plan, He said, my master Cloudy became furious, very angry with me when I urged him, I persuaded him to pay you tribute, to pay you respect. And he attacked me, beat me up, and threw me out of the tree. Henceforth, from here onwards, I shall work for the destruction of all the crows. Now, I throw myself at your mercy. Please be merciful. Have compassion on me. I don't like the crows anymore. And then the emperor said, I will talk it over with my advisors. The king also had to seek the advice of the counselors. So, what happened next now? 4 crusher had 5 ancestral counselors. Ancestral, it means derived from the ancestors. So these counselors had a connection with him, the descendants of his maybe great-grandfathers or grandfathers and so on. So they were sort of also connected with the family. And their names were Red Eye, Fierce Eye, Hook Nose, also Hook Nose, Flame Eye, and Wall Ear. Very, very funny names. So the crows seeks asylum. What is your opinion, Red Eye? So the king asked the first of the advisors, the Red Eye. He said the crow now is asking for shelter, asking for protection. What is your opinion, Red Eye? The Red Eye said, slay him, kill him without further delay, my lord. He is a crow. His advice was like this. But the other counselors were more charitable. They were more kind or compassionate. Then what the other one said, grant him refuge, O king. Grant him protection. It will be wrong to kill one who seeks your protection. Another one said. And the third one said, he may prove useful to us in our war with the crows. But the Red Eye, that means they are the one that asked to kill the crow. Do not listen to them, your majesty. Slay him, he's up to no good. So he suspected already, he was the one that was shrewd. I've already made up my mind. The king got to make up the mind after listening to the different views. So he told Red Eye, I made up my mind already. The crow stays with us. We shall take him to our fortress. Our fortress will be the home, which is like a fort, well strengthened out already. The home in the cave, you can see afterwards. So now let us go on to the next slide. So, since the old crow was weak, already battered, assaulted and beaten up, so weak, so a few of the crows so used a branch and carried him to their fortress. And this cunning crow said, I have fooled them all. He was thinking to himself, no, I have fooled them all except the shrewd Red Eye. The cunning, intelligent one, Red Eye, was the one that was different. And he has guessed my true purpose. Actually, the crow had something in mind. He was just pura-pura only, So this wise old crow was brought to the fortress, to the home that was strengthened already. It's a cave. This is our fortress, sir, the king told the crow. Here you may stay in comfort and honor. Very hospitable king. Oh, there. Make our guest comfortable. Look after his needs. The king commanded the other owls to look after the guests. That is owl, very, very smart, clever also, or cunning. If I stay in their midst, it will be difficult for me to go about my business without being observed. So he didn't want to go inside the cave to stay because he had some plans. Okay, it would not be proper for me to enter your fortress. I am after all a crow and unworthy, not deserving of the honor. So he said, I'm just a crow. I'll stay outside. I was telling the pura-pura actually. He was telling the king, he said, let me stay outside. Outside the cave, just near to the entrance, outside. See, near to the entrance. Actually, there was also a paga, a protected a gate to protect the cave also. That's why I call the fort. Then the crow said, give me a little place near the gate. There was this gate outside. I can say, imagine a gate here. So he wanted to be just outside the interior of the cave, near the door, you can say. Near the gate, just near the gate. And that is enough. Then the emperor was so kind. You may stay near the gate if it pleases you, my friend. He was very happy, planning in the mind. The second part of my plan has gone through successfully. I can come and go as I wish. So, Livestrong made himself comfortable near the gate. Right? So he was very near the door of the cave where the, owls live, and began to enjoy a life of ease and comfort, unperturbed, not disturbed at all by Red Eye's hostility. Red Eye was angry, isn't it? Resented his coming. He was the one that disagreed with the other owls, including the emperor, isn't it? So he was very hostile. So he said the rest, hormat him. Have some rice, your honor. And here are some mangoes. So this Red Eye, how they pamper him, it makes me sick. I was thinking, pamper means to treat with excessive care, giving me all the luxurious things, all this. So he was not happy, no. So what did he do? He was one of the advisors also, isn't it? So he was thinking, we are fattening him. while he is planning our destruction. That's what he was expecting, He must be laughing at us, He was thinking like that. So he once more told the emperor or the king, Your Majesty, the crows must go. He is making a fool of you. Oh, he once more tried to tell the king his view, to ask the king to change the mind. Red eye. The king was annoyed already because he he disagreed. Red eye, he say. And then what else now? Leave that poor creature alone. He is harmless. So the king insisted that the crow should have the refuge, should have the protection at their place. So this red eye was unhappy. They won't listen to me. In other words, you say the king and the others won't listen to me. I can't stay here any longer already. So what did Red Eye do? Red Eye gathered his followers and told them to pack up their belongings. The end is near. The end is at hand, near. I'm going to die already. I cannot save the king as he refuses to be guided by me. Let us at least save ourselves while we can. So he convinced a few others. Anyone who continues to live here does so at his own peril. Peril means at his own danger. If you want to stay here, you'll be in danger of being killed, of dying. So he said, let us go forth, let's go away and seek out and find another fortress, another home, safe one, strong home in the mountains. That's what he said. So there were a few that agreed with him. So Livestrong was overjoyed when he saw Red Eye leaving the fortress with his followers. So he had some followers, just like Devadatta, got some followers. Devadatta went against Buddha. So he also let the followers to fly away. This crow heard all that was said and what was happening. He was very happy. Only he could have spoiled. Spoil means spoiler. He could have spoiled my plans, The rest of the crows and the rest of the owls are numbskulls. He said the rest are fools. He's the only one intelligent and cunning, So he said, now he's gone away already with a few of the followers only. So he was thinking, this crow, cunning one, the days of the owls are numbered. That means these owls in the cave will not live long already. Say, from tomorrow, I shall start building my nest of death. So he wanted to launch or to go forward with the next part of the planetary to build a nest he called the nest of death. So let us go on to the next one. Each day thereafter, Livestrong went into the forest and returned with a twig. A twig means a small branch, which he dropped inside the gate, but not inside the cave yet, just at the doorway. You could see, So he started gathering the small branches of the twigs because he already told the emperor he wanted to build a nest for himself. Birds have nests, isn't it? So then he announced again, I'm building a nest, Your Majesty. I hope you do not mind. The king said, of course not. The king even said, let us know if you need any help. So maybe the owls also help to gather some twigs. So soon there was a large pile of twigs, of small branches at the gate there. And then near the door to the cave. But none of the owls stopped to wonder why their guests required so big a nest. They did not think, could not think carefully why this crow needed such a huge nest. No, they just followed blindly. Then one morning when everything was ready, and the owls were asleep, Livestrong quietly flew away from the fortress to go back to his friends. So he flew directly to a nearby mountain where the king of the crows, remember Cloudy, and the other crows were waiting for him because they followed his plan. And then the king said, "We are delighted to see you back with us." Delighted means happy. So what will happen now? Let's go to the next one. How was your stay with the owls? The king of the crows asked. And this wise, must be the wise old owl. I shall give you a full account of my adventures later, my lord. A full account means a full report and explanation later only. Now to carry out the plan. But we have work to do now. Then he gave the instruction. Let every crow take up a burning twig and come with us. So what was the instruction? You gather all the twigs, right? And then one twig would be lighted, and then the others also from the flame would also be lighted, and every crow would take one burning twig and then quickly fly, follow me. So soon, an army of crows led by the tireless, very energetic, Livestrong owl, his name, was streaking. Streaking means moving very fast already through the morning sky. Very early morning, the owls were still sleeping. So they flew to the cave, the fortress, and they flew near the entrance to the cave where there was this big nest that was built by the wise old owl, right? So then he commanded, he said, now drop your twigs on the nest and set it on fire. So he gave the instructions. So the crows all did as they were told by this wise old owl. You can see. So the fire started at the nest with all the twigs, the dry twigs. So a big fire started. And the king of the owls, Four Crusher, and all the other owls were still inside, sleeping. Sleeping. So let us see what will happen. Then, of course, the fire was quite big, so there was the heat coming in. Then the king already knew, fire! The cave is on fire. The fire started to spread now. The owls, still half asleep, tried to rush out of the cave, but were beaten back by the flames. The fire was so great, it was a big nest, so a big fire. So they were trapped inside. Then only the king of the owls realized, the crow has done this. I should have listened to my faithful red eye, the loyal red eye that was the wise one, really. So now the king sort of regretted already. So what could they do? Already trapped inside. They, we are doomed, we are doomed. We are certain to die. I see. So the cave, all enclosed except one entrance, and he couldn't get out from any other door. Like a house, you have more than one door. There's only one entrance. So the cave, closed as it was from all sides, became a fiery furnace. Wow, very, very hot furnace. Like a space heater, like heater, you have seen maybe furnaces where people burn the bodies after that, cremation. So the crows were trapped in the fire. This I show the crow burning in the fire, this animation. So, wow, all became victims of the fire. No. So very, very sad. Those of the owls who managed to evade, to escape the flames, there were some who managed to maybe escape the flames, that they went further into the cave. But then no point, because the smoke would go in and they would suffocate. They would choke to death, couldn't breathe. So either you'll be burned by the terrible flames or you'll be choked by the smoke. Whatever it is, all the fumes, right? The smoke, and all those things are terrible, isn't it? So all of them, including the king, the name poor crusher, perish. Perish means die. They were destroyed, right? So, and thus did the crows rid themselves of their powerful but dumb-witted enemies, the owl. That was how the crows, right, got rid of their enemies. The enemies supposed to be wise owls, but very stupid ones, led by the king. He was kind, but lacking in the wisdom already. So that's the end of the animal story. So you see, it's a quite interesting story. I find this animal story. I hope you understand. So now we will come to the most important slide, the Dhamma lessons we can learn from this animal story. So this is just a story, but it has some moral lessons that we can learn and to become more wise, to learn life lessons. So let us now go on to the last slide. Now, let us see slide number 16, which is the end, all right? There are 4 Dhamma lessons. We will discuss this. Very important. You can say they have a connection with the story in most cases, but I have put certain points which are very important but have not so much bearing with the story, but I extended this so that you can learn very important Dhamma teachings. So let us see what are the Dhamma lessons we can learn based essentially also on the story owls and crows, or crows and owls. Here you see an animated image of an owl, and here an animated image of a crow. It should be the owls that are wise, but it was the crow, the crows that were cunning and wiser in a way to how to win the war against the enemies. Now let's look at the first of the lessons. In the animal world, there is much fear, aggression, violence, conflicts, and fights. It is a woeful state. Now, in the Buddhist context, we have different realms or different states of existence where you can reborn into. You have, right, 3 according to the early scriptures. But then later on, they talk about 6 realms of existence, 6 states of existence of rebirth that you can take, you can bring you to the different states. One is the most terrible suffering, one is the hell. And then after that, the next suffering one is the animal realm. This one in the animal world one. And then you have the ghosts. These are the suffering ones. Later books say there's one more called demons. Demons, asuras, suffering also. But the original one put the demons into the heavens. But anyway, that is not important. We know there are suffering realms. These 3 particularly: hell, animals, ghosts. And then 2 fortunate, happy ones: human realm, the human world, as you know, and then the heavens of the gods. But now we are concerned with this animal realm. Some people think, very nice, to be reborn into the animal. I can fly like a bird, so carefree. but they don't realize, birds have fear. They are afraid the enemies, the big birds like the eagle will eat and kill the smaller birds. And they have no shelter. Sometimes in the rain, difficult also, the nest also will get all wet, a lot of suffering, and difficult to find food sometimes. So it is a suffering world. And always in fear, all right? And you find that birds have this sort of suffering. But you look at the other animals also in the jungle. Wow, this animal eats the other animal, this animal eats that. And then they are afraid of being hunted. So it is a suffering state. Don't think it's very nice to be reborn as an animal. It's not so. So make sure you don't do the wrong actions or wrong deeds that can cause you to be reborn in this suffering state, the animal world. Right? This one only one of the thousands of animals you can find in the animal world, isn't it? In the jungle, there are so many types. Most of nearly you can say, oh no, mostly live in fear. No, they don't really have happiness. Even the big animals like the elephants, and you see how they can be captured and used in the circus and do the work, really suffering. The horses also. Now you know what happens to the horses. You have to carry all those soldiers to fight those days, and they fought using conventional weapons. And then even lions and tigers also scared because man can go and hunt them, you see. So it's really a woeful state, sorrowful suffering state. So this is the first Dhamma lesson you have to know. Now let's look at the next one. To be able to think wisely is important. It's a blessing. Life will be more peaceful. Yes. Now, why man is the greatest of all the creatures among the animals? And then you can say man in a way also like an animal also. When we talk about mammals, we also include man. So it has certain characteristics of the animals. You see, some men are behaving like animals. You know what I mean? They like to fight. They are greedy, right? And then they don't really have kindness. Animals, you just jaga sendiri lah, makan and then reproduce, sleep lah. But man has this quality, to be able to think wisely. So this story tells you thinking wisely is important also. Isn't it? This is very applicable in the human realm. But animals actually cannot really think well on it. They're simple-minded. But this is just a story. So you can see from the story here, so this wise old owl, he could think wisely or cleverly to protect the other crows. Otherwise, the crows will be attacked by the owls and they can be wiped out. So he had to have a plan because the owl's more powerful. So he could think. But for human beings, of course, we think in the right way, with wisdom, not to cause suffering to other people. So if you are able to think wisely, which means in the right way, not causing harm to other people or yourself, this will be a blessing. So wisdom is a very important quality to develop in Dhamma practice. So that is this very important Dhamma lesson of wisdom. You see, today in our world, you find lots of troubles in it. Every day you hear of terrible actions being done. I just read yesterday on a report where this man, I think he was in one of the states in Malaysia, he was charged already for having sex with a cat. And the cat died. Oh, so it's like animal, isn't it? Behaving like animal, having sex with the cat. I read, and the picture also appeared in the newspaper. So, and then you find there are some men that behave really like animals, as angry as maybe a wolf or a lion, very bad temper one. And then some very aggressive. So if you have these sort of traits in your mind, temper, anger, aggression, prone to violence, everything. And then these sort of traits in your mind will propel you to do the unwholesome actions, to kill, to steal, to attack people and cause other beings, other sentient beings are suffering. Then in the Buddha's teachings, these create bad karma and you can be reborn into the woeful state like the animal realm. Because you behave, actually there were accounts of people who even before they die behave like animals. There was this case, this was told by one of the monks, the case even before he died, so he behaved like animal already, you know. He went on force, took out all his clothes, he would not go into the house already, this old man, you know. And then he would want to go and stay in the canal, the dog house, you know. And when he, you know, took his food, he would take the food like a dog. So because the mind is changing. So be careful. Your mind must not have those qualities like anger, fear, and then also aggression, violence, and so on. So this is a very important Dhamma teaching. Now let us go on to the next Dhamma lesson. We must always be careful, heedful, and mindful. Beware of trusting others too soon before we know them better. This is a very important lesson for all of us. Now, the story has this message. It is just a story, animal story, but it has this message. You know, the king was not careful enough, was not heedful, cautious, and he did not study the whole situation better in more detail. So he made the decision to get the crow, the crow, in a way, a trickster, like a con man. He got the bird in, and then also did not think, did not exercise the care, and he saw together with the other crows, silly ones, to build a big nest, So you're not careful and mindful and heedful. So in the end, what will happen? So when we apply into our life, then you know it's so important for us to be always careful, cautious, mindful, reflect and think, and heedful. Heedful is also very careful and very cautious. But today you'll be surprised. So many people don't have these important qualities of mindfulness, heedfulness, and they get cheated. They trust the people, they get conned, scammed. So many, including educated ones, teachers, doctors, politicians, all very educated one got cheated by the scams through the internet of hundreds of thousands of dollars. You see? So when we reflect on this, then we have to be careful in the mind, to be alert. We must investigate, find out more before we trust another person who, sometimes, they pura-pura, just like the scammers, the con man, sweet talk and all this, but the heart and mind, different intention. Very dangerous. So that's why you find so many people get cheated and then they get into trouble. Sorrow, suffering. Imagine to lose $500,000 because you were cheated, because you trusted that person without investigating further and without thinking wisely. So that is this very, very important message that you have to bear in mind. To be alert, you have actually sometimes got to consult, discuss with other people who have greater wisdom. Young ones that are cheated also lack this carefulness and heedfulness and mindfulness. So the young ones should seek the counsel and advice of the wiser elder ones. But instead, they don't. And then they do certain actions they will regret a lot later on, and they will suffer. So we must always investigate, to reflect and think clearly before doing something. So in this case here, the story, of course, a simple story, tells us that many of the owls are not really wise. So, but then you see, it's also cause effect, in the sense that they attack people. They always want to, like the king himself always would assault others. So good begets good, bad begets bad. So they assault other people and they kill also. Then also they get the bad things in return. Because you at the start of the story says the owls like to attack the crows. When the animal world is like that. But now let us see the last slide. Important message for we human beings. Now, we are human beings. We are the highest of all the beings in our world. In a way also, we are greater than the gods because we have a chance to become enlightened. Even gods, like the heaven god, He Kong, also wish to become human beings because at the human level, we can think and do the good karma. In the heavens, you find, especially the lower heavens, you find they enjoy all the good blessings and the good karma until not enough blessings already. Then they have to be reborn further down already, right? As humans, unfortunate humans, maybe not enough blessing, or even as ghosts or the other woeful realms. So as human beings, we are very special. It's rare to be born as human beings, So there are two very important qualities that we must develop so that we are on the right path to be reborn into good states and eventually to be enlightened, to stop all suffering and all dukkha. Before you reach that level of enlightenment, becoming arahants or Buddhas, you develop your compassion and wisdom through the Dhamma learning and practice. Then you find in this life you can live more happily and peacefully, and you carry on to future lives. You also will be reborn in good states and live more happily and peacefully. And then continue your development of the mind, the practice of Dhamma, and then one day you too will be free from all the suffering, to be enlightened, just like Buddha, or to become an arahant. No more rebirth, no more suffering. You attain nibbana. So you see, the fourth one is a very important message. In fact, all have important Dhamma teachings. Not only applicable to one group of people, it's applicable to all actually. Of course, for some young ones in the primary school, you might find certain things more difficult. You learn what you can. But secondary school, Buddhist youths, university students, college students, and adults, I think should be able to follow this, the important Dhamma teachings. I've spoken near to an hour already, and this is the most important slide, as I said. So let us reflect on this message or this as wish, right? With learning the Dhamma constantly, may you be well, peaceful, and happy. Now, it's not just praying and praying, oh, I will have happiness, I will have good health, I will be prosperous, I'll be wealthy. No, no, no. It's very important to have the Dhamma learn and practice constantly. And then you will get these blessings of happiness and peacefulness. So that is this important thing for you to know. So that's why when I write this wish for you, may you be well, peaceful, and happy, I have to convey the Dhamma teaching. Otherwise, some will say, oh, I better also start praying, I'll be well, peaceful. But if you don't learn and practice the Dhamma well, then you cannot attain these good things, these blessings. So now we have come to the end. Before we say sadhu 3 times, I would like to thank all the students, particularly of the Dhamma classes, all students who are following, and then also the Buddhist youth members, and parents and grandparents who are guiding the young ones along the Dhamma way, and also to all teachers who are teaching or who have taught and who will be teaching in the Dhamma classes, a very meritorious deed. So let us put our palms together and say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. Take care.